Alright, let me see if I could do this, Before I start, I'm going to dedicate this to the man that said, be water. That's what I want you to be. That's what we spoke about in the other video when you say dissolution, that who you think you are, who I am. You're nothing, you're nobody. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but I'm going to be straight up blunt and to the point so we don't beat around the bush or kid each other. You understand? I'm here to make you a better person about the word called truth. So I would tell you like a person from your family would without sugarcoating it, and that would be nothing. Forget about yourself. Be water. That's what Bruce Lee told you. That's why this is dedicated to Bruce Lee and to the dragon. You know, this is the thing with this. When we talking about the dragon, it's so deep. It's it's so many stories, but there's none really on the internet or documented in the correct way because it's part of a secret society, it's part of the occult. And when we say the term occult, I want everybody to understand because we've been taught by religion to look at occult as some satanic worship. When you say the word occult itself, occult only means hidden. So do esoteric, it only means hidden. So do apocryphy. Apocryphy, like in the books of the Bible, the extra books, especially Catholic Bible. That's called apocryphy because it's hidden. Hidden came along with the opposite word, apocalypse, which is to reveal, which is what the last book is, Revelation, revealing all the rest of the book that came before, which is hidden. The whole book is about psychic. For you to understand the book, it's about psychicness, psychic system. It makes fun of us because it tell you, for those that can't see, those that can't hear, and those that can't speak, they're not gonna get it. You got the avatar Jesus in there telling you about it's a mystery, it's a mystery, it's a mystery. The only mystery is that it only corresponds to people who have psychic abilities. That's what is the chakras. That's what Kundalini is. When you have a Kundalini activation, or what we today call a third eye activation, you become what's called psychic. When you become psychic, you can see God. The Bible makes sense to you. Religion makes sense to you. Everything will make sense to you. Prior to that, none of that is going to make sense to you because your psychic abilities is not activated. Every human being is a psychic. By nature, you're more of a psychic than you are a physical being. The reason why is because you have a soul. Psychic is the actual word that the Greeks used to call the name for spirit or soul. It was called psychic. Today we call it a channeler or somebody, but that's not what it is. No, psychic is being in touch with your spirit. So there was people who was born with what's called their nadis. These are the knots that make you can't get to your psychic abilities with the knot on it. That's the average human being. That's why the chakra system is designed and yoga is designed to unknot you. But you do it in stages because it has a mental ramification. You have to open up your subconscious to get to your soul, which is actually going down into your body and going to the root, Mudalarara, to your anus, and riding the donkey back up to the crown. And so that's so you can leave upon death. So this is all codified and hidden. So, and I'm trying to make sense out of like the books when I was just talking about Revelation. That's why we're starting off there, because we're talking about the dragon. Enter the dragon. That's when it enters in that book. But in the Colburn's Bible, the Colburn book, it tells you about the dragon in the beginning of the book, saying there was the second destruction of the world. And that was caused by the dragon. I'm pretty sure you see it. It's in my Sumerian cosmology video, the one where you get to hear the actual ebook reading the stories to you. So, let's talk about the dragon now for a quick second. What is this dragon? And why is it in the books? And what do God need a dragon for? or the gods, or whatever forces you will call it, Allah. What do Allah need a dragon for? If you want to say it that way, Buddha need a dragon for, Brahma. So if you want to say yourself, you want to say Ra. The Egyptians have the dragon in it. The Indians have the dragon in it. The Mayans have the dragon in it. The Toltecs have the dragon in it. The American Indians have the dragon in it. The Africans have the dragon in it. Why is the dragon everywhere? Especially in South America. Alright, so there's this word called Nagas, Ninaruta, Negro, Now, Ninja. All these words is symbolic or symbolizing a dragon or serpent. It's not coincidence that the black people is called Negroes. It is the proper term for them because it was given to them from a spiritual attribute, a spiritual point of view of who they are. Kundalini kids. Negroes meaning Nagas, the dragon. It's the closest word. You have the Nagamati documents, the dragon documents, serpent books of the Kundalini babies, how to activate, how to live, how to do it. Not to be like them children or sons of men that indulges in pleasures and desires. Some of us that's here is seeking that, but just don't know which way to go because of deception. So hopefully these videos will help clear you up blockages or confusion and put you back on the path that you're supposed to be on. Okay, so this dragon now, what is it? How does it work? And why is this in everything? Like I said, especially Africa, West Africa, the Olmecs got it. I could go on forever with the dragon, but we're going to try to make sense out of it. Look, all societies belong to a dragon society. It's not coincidental. When you get into the Illuminati, David Icke and all them, they tell you to have the ability to get into these organizations through the woman's mitochondrial DNA, and you have to have some type of special psychic abilities. The mitochondrial DNA is hype talk, but the psychic abilities is real. But everybody have to do it. Now, when you read in them books, same David Icke books and all them people who do them conspiracy theory, they tell you how the Illuminati do these programs, they drop their babies, have crazy intercourse of sex and all that is to have the disassociation so that they can activate their psychic abilities. It's the same like coming into day ritual that the Egyptians used to have to perform when they put you inside the pyramids and make you face your fears and temptations. It's the same thing. These traumas is what's going to actually loosen you up out yourself. And so that's why military people is trauma-based people on drugs, post-trauma. All of these is factors that they're free and their soul is free, but they never actually educated themselves on what's going on. And so they never integrated their splits and their different things that they're seeing. And so it wound up being a mental disease. Plus, when you factor in alcohol, drugs, and pharmaceutical drugs, it just turned to a big mess. This is all because of the dragon. Okay, so let's get back into this dragon. So in the beginning, right, for anything to exist, it needs a positive and a negative energy flow. Chi, look at the yin and yang symbol, right? That circle, what's in the center is the ethereal energy or the ancestors or the beings, the entities, the things that make life exist. You understand? It will be called the logos when the dragon seals it in. Whatever is in there is the data, the information, everything that is needed for that thing to be, whatever it's going to be evolved to. Okay, so for yin and yang symbol, one dragon would be half of the circle. positive energy. The other dragon, flipped upside down, eating the tail and the heads, that's the negative energy. Together, what's in the circle becomes what's called a portal. Anything in existence. This universe first. It's a cell. It's a dragon cell. The solar system is the cell itself. If you look at the whole Milky Way, it's a cell. It's the same cell. The dragon is on both ends, and what's in the middle spinning and swirling like a whirlpool, that's the ethereal energy, that's the ancestors, that's the logos of this universe. All right. So, anything to exist, the dragon has to come, and it splits into two and makes the portal. When the portal opens, a whole bunch of primordial beings from Pan, you're talking the Zeus and the Olympians, you're talking the Titans, you're talking Leviathan, you're talking the Hat Man and Papa Legro. Now, all of them come out first, shadow beings, shadows. And they start calcifying light into shades, reflection, making everything bounce around, reflection. As these now start to come, you got God, the overseer, everything, organizing it. This is what they're trying to find out with the God particle. What holds matter together? There's something, they call it the God particle. Because we're really spaced out. Like, if you saw the last video, it tell you that whatever you think is solid under a microscope is really electron, a proton, neutron, electron. And in it, if you was to look in, there's a big space between the proton, neutron, and electron. So everything is basically spaced out, but it seems so solid to us. Why is that? So they trying to say that what holds things together is this God particle. And they're trying to tap in to see what it is, but you can't tap into something that don't exist in the sense of what we call existing. So you try to soothe it, you try to zap it, try to electrocute it. It's just smiling at you and standing there looking. Nothing has no effect on it, nothing in existence. So you could see it, you could actually interact with it, but doing it something or learning it or try to dissect it, it's impossible because it's made of something that is not from nothing made in its own existence. It's separate from everything. So you can't do nothing to it. So that's the trick now, is to find out what it is. So they're trying to accelerate speed to see if speed could get into it. Well, it probably could get to it with that because everything moves at a crazy rate. They're on the right path. Now, anyway, what is going on? This now is being held together by what's inside the God particle. You could say that's the dome for us that we talk about. Or in a typical cell, it would be the embryo, equivalent to the lymph, to hemoglobin. Hold things together. That's what's around the blood capillaries, around in the veins, that's holding everything together, that make it spin. It'd be like if you took a magnet, put a positive piece of magnet and a negative piece of magnet, then run a coil around it and stick it through a rotor, a circular rotor. Right when you put the line of magnets with the field, it's going to start spinning. That's how you get a motor. So that's what your blood starts swirling and spinning. Everything start coming alive once that ethereal energy, you'll get over it. So once that's over it now, whatever the logo seed is, the amount of spirits or the entities, the dark chaos god, chaos energy, look at fractal energy. Chaos energy is the building blocks of this whole world, subatomically. So now, once that starts having a pattern, a mathematical equation that it locks into, the ethereal energy locks it and seals it into what's called a logos. So it's forever life existence is trapped into that now. Destinies, time periods, all of this is foreseen and played out already in just logos. So now you come out when it starts turning from you could say it's electrical and digital, where the DNA and the RNA start interacting. That's the same now as you could say the cells split into a positive and negative, DNA and RNA. One start reading, one start writing, and you start making protein, which now turn something that's a ghost into a spirit, into another dimension, into this physical world, oozing out like a ooze, a pus. And this pus brings life. That's what protein is. That's how it comes about. But in it is the building blocks, the logos. It's just filled. It's not even protein. It's circles upon circles, billions upon quadrillions of circles next to each other, forming like a milky, pussy stuff. If you was to see each one, it's your image in it that forms your life force, your life, everything, your picture, your image, your design, your age, your everything. That's the dragon. We're talking about Enter the Dragon. I'm going in depth with you. That's when you see all the ancient pictures with the dragon tail biting the other dragon tail. It's a circle. We're talking about a cell, but a cell dissected not into a whole circle where you're looking in the center. Half of a cell is is one dragon, and the other half of the cell is another dragon, and through the middle is the portal. So it don't just build externally, outwardly. It inverse too. It implodes. Everything that is happening with the dragon, once the two get together, it's an implosion, which forms DNA, genetics. Once the two dragon comes, DNA is formed, genetics, chromosomes. That's what's formed. But it's a slow process using reflective light, shadow beings. They're on a subatomic level. That's why we can't see Thoth. We can't see these things. They're very on a sub level. When you dream, you go into a subatomic world. That's where the dream world is at. It's not in a huge world. So this is now an idea of what the dragon is. So let's get into how the dragon comes into our reality. Just step up the game now and see everything as cells. As above, so below. Universe is made up of cells invisible to the naked eye. What we call darkness is really chaos energy. It's filled with energy, cells all over, circles and circles and circles and circles to form what we call matter. Matter is being held together by ethereal energy. The ethereal energy is one person that is encompassing the whole circumference of everything that we call God. And it's a matrix pattern like a Spider-Man web pattern that we call the matrix that nobody can escape. It goes through your body, it goes through trees, it goes to anything that is created in there. That's why everybody's trying to tap in. So, but it's psychic. When you're talking that invisible matrix, it's psychic. So when you're talking about when in the book how in John 7:14 or whatever, he'd be like, I'm in the Father and the Father is in you. It's something inside of you. And he's like, you're going to do great things, even greater things. There's something inside of you that give you unlimited ability to remove gravity away from you, do what the Egyptians did and have super knowledge. But you have to tap in into the dragon. So now you're understanding just a little bit about the importance and the significance of how this reality comes together and the dragon's part in it. So now, hold on one second. Yes, I'm back into the dragon like I was saying. So now, the dragon comes in, is very into human's life, right? Because I already tell you, break that down on all levels, as above, so below. It encompasses everything, your cells, you're made of cells. The world of cells is incredible. It's the cartoon world. They put it in there to just, throw us off. Disney is the first to really, I see, took advantage of cells. And that's where you get your cartoons from. So much to it. The cell is kind of weird. For you to understand the cell, when you look into the sky and they tell you how far the sun is, and then say you take even the moon and you look at the moon at night and they tell you how far it is. But when you get your camera, you can zoom all the way into the moon and see craters and everything like it's not that far away. And so you get to realize our eyes, even when we glimpse into space, the dome is like a magnifying glass, but it only works through our own perception. It don't work like if you're trying to look at it, through your five senses. But through your spiritual eye or through the lens of your camera, everything is actually magnified and you see what you want to see. That's what this reality is, a mind, you understand? So when you're looking at the universe or you're looking into space, you're not seeing actually what's there. Everything is more digital there, and what you're getting is a reflection of what you expect to see. But the magnification is what my point is, to say it's a cell. We're in a cell that you, when you look out of it, the water and liquidy tricks you. So when we're talking about the draconian thing, with Draco being the first constellation created, we speak of the dragon queen. It's the same thing. You're in her. You're in her body. This was motivated from somebody asking me the question, when I close my eyes, I see the dragon light. And he said, he explained to me that's like some orb lights he see that's whirling back and forth. That is the dragon. That's the dragon. Let me tell you. For me, it started when I started first observing the skies. Like everybody else, I started seeing the dragon face in the skies. But it was influencing me and affecting me in the most terriblest way, activating my kundalini. Because not only am I seeing the dragon in the skies, at the same time I'm going through like some type of intuition upgrade. My ears was just ringing. When everybody's ears started ringing, mine's never stopped. Up to right now, my ears still ring, and it changes tone. If I'm in meditation, it changes tone. Ooh, from high to higher to higher to low. When people come around me, I could sense my ears ring, just like Spider-Man. I swear to God, I kid you not. Just like the spider senses, if you thinking bad thoughts about me, my ears will ring. If something is going to happen, my ears will ring. If an entity is in the area, my ears will ring. It was that. Once I started messing with the dragon, that was like one of the first things I caught on. But back then it used to make me so nervous, and anxiety and fear used to come over me. I was messed up. I was scared to death to see this dragon. But it didn't start off like that first. It first started off with just the ear ringing, and I got smarter. Mad smarter than no fucking way. Just mad smarter when my ears ring. So it had me researching the World Trade Center. The ancestors is incredible. Let me break this down to you. At the same time, I'm just in love with clouds. I remember after the first incident where my kundalini popped, it was looking at the sun or whatever. I remember I went outside, something weird is in me. It's weird. I can never explain it. It feels like a movie from Total Recall. When I go outside with my camera to record, I look up at the clouds, and all of a sudden it's like everything changed. A flash came and I was in another world, and the sun came down and it turned into a circumpoint and then all of a sudden the sky itself is flashing mad maps, a whole bunch of maps with the clouds flashing. It was like downloading to me, and I'm shaking, my legs are shaking, my heart rate is up, and I'm like, what the hell? I was frozen, stuck in this field. So when it finished, I ran in the house. I was like, what the hell is this? This is like some real scary movie or some really Total Recall shit. So now, I'm like, okay, let's move on a little. Every time now, I could see things in the clouds. I could see it, but I can't prove anything, but I could see things in the cloud. And it started me tripping out, like, saying this is this, this is that. I wasn't tripping out. That's what it was. It's a fact. It's like you got data. This data is so weird how it come down. It's like Poltergeist, where you see the girl looking at the snow screen or the noise on the screen, no pictures there, but she's seeing images. It came that clear to me. Like, I'm looking at snow, but to me I'm seeing mad images there. And I recognize everybody there. And they flashing there. So now that this is downloaded in me, my reality changed. When I look at things, it's not the same no more. Like, I look at the grass, I see things in it. I see everything is alive. And it started first now making me go to these World Trade Center. And as I look at the clouds above the World Trade Center, I saw them. I see them all. But I don't know if there was enemies. They were like, I'm thinking, because I'm coming from the mundane world. The World Trade Center is a setup. And they're feeding those entities the souls of people. Because for some reason, I don't know what made me just assume that those things is either eating and taking souls or they saving souls. It was too many of them, and they all gathered around, and I could recognize who's who between the gorilla, the lion, the panther, the cougar. I see them all clear. Cougar's in the fire, the leopard and the gorilla. Gorilla's in the dark smoke. The leopard is in between fire and smoke. And it seemed like they're all doing something. Faces, it's like they was eating the building. I'm watching it with amazement. I did not see it the same way like it was a destruction. It was more like a sacrifice. And I could see people dying. I could see their bodies turning into ghosts coming out the building and right into their mouths. All of them is eating them up. So now I'm scared to death, wondering is these enemies or is they helping people? And from there started me on the mission. The next thing I started looking at was the Holocaust picture. And I see people who got burnt up, scarred up, and I could see in their scars the same entities, the same beings. I could see them all right there. Like the scars didn't look like scars, and those bruises and broken, they looked like they were smiling, like the cartoon characters waving at me, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I started catching that. And from there now, I'm like, okay, I got some eyes on me. I could even see the orbs still in old pictures of Vietnam. Like actually where they have the soldiers laying out dead at, it's an orb blinking on the pictures. I could see them. I would stare at the orb and then I could literally go back to that time period and see what happened at that moment. All of this started coming on to me through the dragon. So I'm still recording mad videos of the clouds, observing them, playing them, loving them. But it's like me and the clouds was this. I didn't want to watch no YouTube, no nothing. I just watched my own videos with the clouds, and it seemed like it was talking to me and telling me things. And so from there, I started putting the clouds and the sun under suspect, saying that those is our enemy. I thought it was them that was actually doing all of this, and we're being set up and used by them. So I saw the sun as Baphomet. When I did that Mayan calendar video, go back to me decoding the Mayan calendar, because that's what the sun is in the Mayan calendar, the devil or the horned Capricorn looking being. And so now I'm looking at all the entities on the Mayan calendar. That's the same entities coming out the sun that the Egyptians have their hands like this and they holding them up. So I'm like, yo, these things is fucking us up. They're feeding us to these things. Boy, was I wrong. It's the total opposite. But you see, we was taught by the government and religion, and so we believe everything is against us and don't understand that they're trying to tell us to wake up. This is how you wake up. This is how you get back your divinity. And to me, when the divinity came as the dragon, it was like it took something from me. It took me. Let me tell you. I started realizing all this with the pictures and all this now from seeing all this, that there's something else that exists. So now I start now taking real close-ups to the sun and seeing a whole bunch of cartoon beings, but they always is there, no matter how many. I did this for about a year of every day recording the sun and the sky. I'm a master of the directions and all that. So after seeing this for about a year, I started realizing these ain't no coincidental shape. These shapes is always there. They're looking at me. They're seeing me. Then once I caught on to that, they started appearing in my wall, messing with me at nights. I couldn't close my eyes. They was always there, messing with me. Cartoon, like, they like to play practical joke. You know, people who play jokes a lot and play around a lot, they're from them. Those is the elemental spirits, the elements. They move like jittery. They're very cartoonish, mischievous people. And that's where you get a lot of mischievous spirits and demons that come from that dimension. And so now, once that came on to me, I started saying that something is wrong. I bit off more than I could chew. I'm in a situation here. And now they're not going to let me go. That's when I posted that video, the Lamb of God and all his angels, which was the sun being the Lamb of God, and all the angels was all the different entities that's come out, the rays of the sun. And so from there, I said, let me fall back, but it was too late. One night, I was watching my neighbor do a bonfire, and the smoke attacked the shit out of me. When I said it scared and put fear in me, my bones and my hairs on my skin stood up, my spine bone turned yellow. It was the most incredible, yes, brother, incrediblest adventure or feeling that ever came over me of fear. I had to run inside, lock my door, and I was scared to death. So I'm like, this ain't coming over me. What's going on here? And come to find out, it was my time for dissolution, my time for renewal. So when that time came and the dragon entered my body, which put me out, I passed out. I lost control of my legs. I fell on the floor. I crawled, calling my shorty to help me. The phone, no, I think she hung up or whatever. Called 911. They couldn't get to me or whatever. I passed out and like throw up everything. And when I woke up, I just felt like a whole another person. I did not feel like myself. Something was wrong. All of a sudden, I could communicate with animals and all that crazy psychic stuff I tell you about with me having seen the water speed up and the birds go fast. All that stuff started taking place after that. And so, this is my introduction to the dragon. And let me tell you, I was recording some of the most beautifulest cloud videos and horizon videos of the dragon. And like I said, once it took me to these events and showed me these, it took me to Babylonia and started like, all I'm Googling is Babylonian pictures, Sumerian pictures, Anunnaki pictures. And it was like a familiar place. It was like home. It was the places that I was astral projecting, going through, thinking I'm in, like, you watch the videos with, that guy Corey Good, and he tell you about what's inside the moon and these places that have all these hieroglyph carvings. It's just like that. The huge ass rooms that like giants lived inside of them. That's where you go. You see all of these clear as day, and you travel through them, going like from planet to planet, going through these craters into these zones. This is all offered to you when you unite with the dragon. And it's the same way. I see him coming up in the matrix pattern, and we connect. We connect. After for a while, it was scary. I was afraid, but I got used to it. It became like second instinct. Like once you see them, you just transform and turn right into them, and your body go into a whole another motion, into different instincts, different forms of flying your UFO, your Merkaba, which is involve mind, emotions, and thoughts and stuff like that. So it's like you got two sides to you, and it's the opposite of the physical side. So for me, that's how I started learning the dragon and what the dragon is. It's then started showing me itself in sonograms, the skull, the head of a skull. If you ever look at the head of a skull and it was split in half and you could have it like a cup or a bowl, look at the edge of it. You see the dragon head. It's one half of a dragon and the other half is this. That completes it. And for us, like you would see the split in our skull, right? But as you evolve and you become a Kundalini baby, it forms one dome, one cone. That while you see Akhenaten and Nefertiti, they completed their evolution process and became higher beings. That's what our job is. Our skull isn't finished growing, but it's actually one part of just the rest of it coming in as you evolve through Kundalini. The Kundalini make the rest of it grow. So that's part of the dragon. The dragon now, in layman terms, is inside the woman's womb. All wombs, any hole you go through is two double-headed dragons. So the woman's vagina is constructed of two double-headed dragons. All the different walls and layers of flesh that makes it is the double-headed dragon. Inside of her womb, you have two double-headed dragons that form where the baby is being created. The ovaries is the energy that forms the yin and yang, is swirling in antimatter one direction and antimatter the other direction. That's two double-headed dragon, one inverted. And so all of this is anything, portals, it's all double-headed dragons. So everything is the double-headed dragon. The sun is the double-headed dragon. That's what gives us its energy, but it's got its own logos, its own blueprint. It comes from its own dimension. Everything in existence comes from its own zone. No two things come from the same zone, but we're sharing one reality here. So Into the Dragon is actually more deeper now. Now you get an understanding of what it is. So, back to Draco. Being that it's the first constellation, and then it wind up having to do destruction, and we wind up recreating in it. We're in it. When you go into your astral vision, you're going to see the dragon's head. You go through the eye or whatever, and you're inside this universe, inside one of the many universes. You see it like little Christmas-like dots all laid out on a big matrix mountain, and each little dot will represent a dimension or constellation. And it's like a giant crocodile, very big. You understand that's what you're in, and that's how it works. But when you unite with it, it gives you this information to let you know, and to start giving you the idea of how energy works and how your body belongs separately to that side, not to the dragon, but to Set and all those other beings that's the shadow being, because they're the shadow that form the calcification of the body. But you, the psychic, if you wake up and came in your body, you belong to God, to the higher angelic order, to the soul. Your journey is to get back to the spiritual world. But the body has to take a separate journey. You have to separate yourself from the source. You get caught up in dissolution where you have to watch your body decay and you die. You go to sleep in an unconscious state forever and just return back to matter. So, anyways now. The dragon is the whole key to this, and where I'm at in the story. Let me see. Oh yes, here we go. You see, the instructions that you get, especially coming from the constellation, is the story that you hear everybody talking about. Everybody knows those stories because it comes with the dragon. Those brotherhoods. Once you unite with your psychic self, if you ever look at the ancient pictures, you will see the dragon is the serpent or the snake that goes through all circles. It's in every dimension. So it's the portal. You see the Egyptians with the spear, staff, sticking it. The spear or staff is your eyes. It's just an angle. It's just giving you the angle to look at, to look directly into the snake. And so once you get that and you pierce it, that's how you travel. You travel as a subatomic particle, astral travel, whatever you want to call it. If you out of body, remote viewing, it's the only way. It's just another world, a psychic world. So that's how really the dragon plays a role in everything in the Bible, how he comes in at the end. The 7 candlesticks or the 7 churches that you hear them talking to is just 7 chakras. These are the 7 chakra gods. You have 7 devis or devils inside of you, Satans, and each one controls different aspect of the dragon. The envy, jealousy, lust, hate that you have to get rid of because you're inside of it. So you have to separate yourself. It's the 7 candlesticks that they tell you to the church of Laodicea, to the church of Philadelphia. The church is the head. That's all it means. There was never a church. When the word was invented, it did not mean that building. That came recently. They redefined it. Church is the body, is the head, and the body is Christ. That's your body. It's different. That don't mean what they say today. So I just want you to understand that. These people is actually trying to bring the biblical books to life. That's why they just in 1946 named that Palestine Israel. It's no such, that would never have existed, and they would never had that idea if they didn't get it out the book. Back when the book was written, there was no Israel though. Think about that. Common sense. But anyways, back to this Enter the Dragon. So now, once you start getting all these instructions and you get the constellation of the story of the constellations and them back in the primordial period, the story of Enlil, Enki, all of this comes to like psychic channeling, and that's their story. If you see a being in there, they'll take you through their journey of their life, because it's your life too. You're made up of them, so they're going to show you their life story, and that's how channels like Anton Parks and all these people was able to look up this information and get to the source of it. But everybody's still going to tarnish it a little when they put it in their own interpretation. So anyways, that's where the dragon come from. But people don't know this part though. Aside from those draconian story with the war with Orion and Cyrus, and the Pleiades, each one, the dragon herself is still here and she's invisible, and she feeds off our energy, our sexual energy. It's the creative energy of life. So she needs that. So her energy is fear, anxiety. All those energies is what she feed off of. And so she induces situations where you're going to always have fear of things going on and all these other things so you can give her these energies. You got to understand what's going on. We all sharing here. There's something feeding off of something to give you existence. You're not existing because you exist or because you're just here. It's something feeding off of you. Everything is eating. You eat. When you have sex, the vagina eats the penis. When it gets good, you start eating her lips. You start eating his lips. Start kissing. Everything is about eating. You got to understand that. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away and I put the phone. My bad. But, I'm giving you the story of the dragon so that you understand what is the dragon, how its influences, what does it mean, and the occult definition of it. So, you see it's the portal. It's the source of everything. Or go look at a sonogram. You see the dragon. Look very carefully at the shape of the womb that the baby is in. It forms two double-headed dragon. Look at the baby's head, forms the two double-headed dragon. Observe how the baby is being made inside of just the shapes and forms that's there. They're going to keep repeating themselves because they're the entities that's giving them life through light. All it is light. So, but it's on an atomic scale, atomic light. So it creates reality. So, just like the big boom. That's what happened when the sperm hit the eggs. You get a big boom. But it don't leave the cell. It's staying there and it creates life in there. That's the seal, the logos. So, anyways, now after you interact with the dragon and she gives you all this information and tell you her life story, she's going to tell you, you her son. You her son. She's the queen. She's Kundalini. Not the one inside you, the actual source of Kundalini. So now, once you get to understand that, you realize that's your mother. Shit, you're like, God damn, how you get caught up in this? Who the fuck decided to have sex and bring me out into this, man? Damn. But yeah, that's the truth. And she's God's right hand. That's God's right hand. You read in the Coben Bible, he the one who let it out on the people that brought it back. Same thing, when he's coming, y'all don't understand. When he's coming, read how he comes. He don't come first. The dragon and the virgin come first. All y'all who's being tempted by these women, that's the beginning of the virgin coming, and then comes the dragon right behind it. Then come the four horsemen. Then come the Christ. Then come God. You got a lot of levels to it. And each one is doing their own form of dissolution to change you. This could happen on a subatomic level. It could happen on an atomic level. It could happen to just you and your personal life and mentality. And it could happen in the world way too. So don't think it's exclusive just to this world view of this world religion or everything. No, each individual is going through that and don't know that they're going through that. They're going through their own hell. They're going through their own revelation. They're going through their own change. They're activating. All this is taking place individually, but concurrently at the same time. It's the dragon. So the dragon means psychicness. The psychic ability in you activates when this happens. And not just what I just told you, like when somebody, being that it's one base, one universal psychicness, if this person on the other side will think about you, you will feel it and you think it too. This is the law of entanglement. When we talk in subatomic particles, you're talking the particles inside of one being, the dragon. And so you touch one, it affects the rest of it. You feel it. So that's what you're in. So now people have thoughts, this happened, you'll tune in on it. You catch it, you'll feel it. He'll come or she'll come and talk to you. You're talking about matter. When you're looking at matter, whatever perception you want to see of me, that's what you're going to see. If you want to see me in this form, as long as my energy is pushing on matter to communicate with you, it's going to be in a form that you expect to see it in, or something you could perceive it in. So you can't say any form that you're observing or seeing is subject to one fixed look. It's what you want it to look like, or what you expect it to look like, or what you won't be afraid of, what you see, what you're glimpsing, like a mirage, and you're trying to make it out and it look like water. That's how it works, just like that. So you see the image, you get the message, but you can't say the image is fixed in. It's the dragon working through different spirits. So we in the cult, esoteric, were equated to just God. But he has 72 names or many attributes, including Isis, Jesus, Horus. That's just the same person, but different levels for different grades of people. That's why the dragon is tied into God. You know, when you're talking about this system, if you can make it past his first line of protection, which is the demons, that's his first line. That's what makes you psychic. It's called chakras. Chakras is the demons, the gatekeepers, the devis, the Satan, the circles with the person in it, with the trident, the star. So Shiva, you see, she formed the circle. Yeah, that's his first line of defense. You cannot take what's in this world and bring it up into the spiritual world, because we have our duality. This is a dual world. We duel with ourselves. In that world, there's no such thing as duality. And if you bring duality in there, that's like collapsing the whole system into a black hole. It cannot work. So he knows this. So he makes a rainbow that you have to go through before you get to the other side. And then it's a rainbow of purification, cleansing. So you can't bring that to the other side no matter how you try. You better stay here and reincarnate over and over again before you even think about trying that. So when you're going through the rainbow, you got to take you pulling off sheaths of yourself. You could say splits in your personality that stays up on this dimension as you move on now. That's what it's there for, to rejuvenate you, purify you. If you was to follow it in layman terms, it would be equal to going through the stages of yoga. You go from Hatha yoga to Raja yoga to Keri yoga, and then you go to Guru yoga. You can't go to Guru yoga first. That's like, it ain't gonna work. You can't go to Keri yoga next. No, you're going backwards. You got to start off with Hatha yoga, cleansing your mind, purifying yourself. With doing that, the body purifies itself. And with that, you learn concentration, discipline, and mental will. All of those is the first step just to deal with what you got to go in there and deal with. I hope this make a lot of understanding of what the dragon is. Now, let's glorify it a little, now that we understand it. He was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee tapped into this Kundalini activation, and you can see his demeanor, right? It's showing you how you will be, not because you want to be, first of all, like say, arrogant or anything like that. It's the fact that you was taught wrong. And everybody in the world is going to be like, why are you acting like this? You shouldn't be. And you will fall back into that cycle and be like them if you're nice. You have to be aggressive to stay who you are. It's not that you don't, but you're a knower now. You know. A knower can't elaborate with an unknower. That don't seem right. That's losing your superiority of being the sun and becoming a planet or moon again. So a knower has to maintain his position. That's what makes him a knower, a sexy person, and a truther. You understand? So you stand for what you know as a knower. And so he would seem aggressive, but he tapped into it and took it to a physical level. It gave him the ability to defy everything in reality, as far as jumping in height, his speed, his agility. All of those is of the dragon. You have to channel the dragon. That's why he stood to himself and only practiced the dragon techniques and dragon life. It's afforded to everybody, but nobody was exposed to this type of the information and this common sense that you can actually know what to do next. You understand? But this is me putting you onto something that, I have a limitation, but the next generation is going to take this to the next level. You understand what I'm saying? So on that note now, that's why you get into the dragon. He's showing you the movie itself is breaking it down how he got pulled into the underworld and he's facing each gatekeeper with the top one at the top. You know, he fights and he wins. That's what you're doing. You're actually going within yourself to make your logo. Another example of it is the movie The One. Jet Li's not killing a whole bunch of people. He's killing himself. He's gathering, running to the dimensions where his logos is at. You would have to go live all of those lives that many times. But he went to his logos and got his logos and aligned them. He's going through rings and taking all the rings and making it a cell, a prokaryotic cell. That's the idea and concept of your whole life living. To go and do it inwardly. You don't have to do it like Jet Li. It's just a movie to signify that. But that's what it's telling you. Go inwardly and meet your other yous and grab them, make the circle, the ring, unite with them, and you become back the logos. You go back to your headquarters or your dimension, your personal world where you come from. That's your whole path and destiny. So if you didn't understand it, you know, there it is again for you. I'm going to keep throwing it at you so y'all get these terms, these meanings, because you got these people doing it and y'all left out the loop and being used as servants. No more servant, man. My people is just kings, queens. We rule. And I'm giving you something that's going to last after life. It's not for this life, and don't try to glorify it. That's why we don't do personal gain. We real white lighters. You understand what I'm saying? It's for your personal self, your self-evolution, and for sympathy of those that needs it. Later on, I'm going to show you how to use the dragon breath and the dragon energy to do Reiki. Alright, you know, keep in mind too, the Egyptians, they rep the blue dragon. The blue dragon is different. The blue dragon here, people, black dragon, white dragon, yeah, that's fine. It's in all of us. But the blue dragon only occur at 5 o'clock. I watch it. If it's clouds on the horizon next to the sun, you will get the blue dragon in your camera when you take the picture. The same hue blue that the Egyptians made that color from. I saw what they see, and you can see what they see too. Everything that I tell you, and if you observe it, is what the Egyptians are showing you in pictures. Well, this is first take on the dragon. You know, we're going to get more into it on the next video. But I want you to understand what it is, how it works, and its influences on you, and how to use it as a portal, as protection. And you know, it's always there. You have to tune into it. It's written in the biblical sense. It's also the rings of Ezekiel, the wheel of Ezekiel. It's the thing Daniel talking about. All of them talking about the dragon, and it's the Lord of the Rings. The rings is the dragon's body as you go through them like a snake. You understand? So you have to understand this concept. That's not, you're going to be wasting your time in the astral just running around. But for now, this is super advanced, final stage astral learning and meditation and all this stuff. After this, you don't need nothing else because it's to the absolute, to the Most High. And that's what he wants, and this where it's the revelation. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is for now. Call me the Confessor. I'm here to tell y'all the truth. University of Conscious Science. One love.